Light snow falls gently on 1888 New York streets as horse carriages roll by and people in warm Victorian clothes walk calmly to open shops. Strong winds hit 1888 New York at midday, blowing top hats away and making coats flap, while gas lamps flicker in the growing storm. Heavy snow causes a whiteout in 1888 New York afternoon as people fight strong winds and carriages move slowly through deep, growing piles. Deep snow piles up fast on 1888 New York streets late afternoon while bundled people wade through drifts and carriages push forward slowly. A fierce blizzard strikes 1888 New York evening with zero visibility, huge drifts, bent trees, and buried carriages in swirling, roaring white chaos. Night falls during the 1888 blizzard, as huge snow drifts block New York streets and bury carriages under dim, snow-covered gas lamps. 1888, New Yorkers push through deep snow drifts to find shelter, knocking on doors and huddling under umbrellas as buildings close tightly. Deep night brings silence to 1888 blizzard-hit New York under thick snow with only faint gas lantern glow through endless falling flakes. Late evening shows 1888 blizzard damage as heavy snow weighs down rooftops, shakes windows, and cracks wood in strong wind gusts. Late night in the 1888 Great Blizzard, huge drifts cover New York streets to second floors while people struggle in chest-deep snow. Early morning after the 1888 blizzard, families stay trapped in homes behind snow drifts higher than windows with muffled door-opening attempts. Morning light shows 1888 rescue teams on sleds, pulled by horses bringing supplies to trapped New Yorkers buried in deep snow. Morning after the 1888 blizzard reveals buried train tracks as engineers shovel snow to free stranded steam locomotives and passenger cars. Noon shows 1888 horse-drawn streetcars halted or tipped over in deep snow with buried tracks, leaving conductors and passengers stranded. Midday brings 1888 workers and citizens shoveling together to carve narrow paths through huge snowdrifts in a slow cleanup effort. Late afternoon after the 1888 blizzard, tired New Yorkers clear small paths slowly between tall snow walls, in quiet desperation. Late evening finds 1888 horse carriages stuck deep in snow as drivers dig to free nervous, whinnying horses in the cold. Mid-evening, after the 1888 blizzard, neighbors shovel snow together while children play in drifts with laughter and encouragement filling air. Late night, as 1888 blizzard calms, horse teams pull snowplows to open streets for streetcars, while workers guide the effort. Early morning after the 1888 blizzard ends, people walk carefully on narrow cleared paths between tall snow walls in sunrise light. Mid-morning after the storm, 1888 New York shops reopen as workers shovel final snow from doors for returning customers. Afternoon reveals 1888 New York skyline clearing of snow as steam engines restart and quiet talks fill streets below. Late afternoon shows 1888 workers clearing snow while first streetcars carefully restart on partially open tracks in golden sunlight. Next day after clearing, 1888 New York streets fill with moving carriages, clanging streetcars, and crowds walking freely again. Weeks later, 1888, New Yorkers share blizzard stories in coffee shops over steaming cups while reading newspaper reports together. Days after 1888 blizzard, workers clear rooftops and restart streetcars as citizens feel growing pride in the city's slow recovery. Days after the blizzard, 1,888 neighborhoods unite with all people shoveling and pushing snow sleds together in strong teamwork. After 1888 storm ends, broken early power lines hang low while rare electric lights flicker, leaving parts of city dark. Days later, huge 1888 snowdrifts remain as workers and horses clear narrow streets with shovels and distant calls echo. A week after 1888 storm, Streetcars slowly restart on cleared paths as people board with jingling bells in snow. Days after blizzard, 1888 workers cut thick ice from frozen waters near New York for summer storage with saws. Week 2 of 1888 recovery. Crews fix collapsed roofs and walls on brownstones to make them stronger against snow. As 1888 recovery grows, merchants open outdoor stalls on cleared sidewalks selling goods despite some half-buried shops nearby. 2 weeks later, 1888 streetcars run smoother on wider tracks, while roads open for careful walking and carriages. Mid-morning, 2 weeks on, 1888 residents shovel paths to half-buried shops so reopened stores can welcome customers again. After 1888 blizzard passes, New York streets stay unusually quiet with only muffled footsteps in deep remaining snow. Days after storm, 1888 New Yorkers read bold newspaper headlines about blizzard damage while talking seriously in cafes. A week later, 1888 rescue teams finish home checks and secure streets as tired workers call final messages. Late evening in recovery, 1888 families, separated by blizzard, embrace joyfully on snowy steps under gas lamp glow. Weeks after 1888 blizzard, melting snow drips from roofs revealing ground as birds return in milder spring air. Late March 1888, New Yorkers resume routines despite leftover snow showing quiet strength and resilience in busy streets. Mid-spring 1888, officials plan underground cables and better systems to prevent damage from future storms like the blizzard. Spring 1888, shop owners count losses as new insurance policies appear and city plans financial help for recovery. Late spring 1888, police and fire teams train with new tools for faster, stronger responses to future disasters. Months after 1888 blizzard, forums discuss how nature's strength changed views on city life and storm planning. Months later, 1888 leaders meet to draft new rules and plans making New York stronger against future storms. A year later, new 1889 horse-drawn plows clear snow faster on New York streets, as crowds watch impressed. Soon after blizzard, 1888 workers add stronger lights and reinforce buildings while marking new emergency routes clearly. New shelters. 1888, new shelters open, where volunteers give warm blankets and food for safety in bad weather. Next winter, 1888-89, campaigns teach New York citizens home safety and hand out shovels for storms. A year later, better 1889 telegraphs help officials send quick messages to teams during snowstorms. Weeks after storm, 1888 New Yorkers read Times stories and pictures about blizzard damage and recovery. Early 1888, recovery adds snow devices to streetcars and fixes tracks for safer winter running. Mid-spring 1888, big projects restore sidewalks and strengthen streets against future powerful winter storms. Months later, 1888 officials create clear rules for plowing routes and alerts during snow emergencies. Spring 1888, owners count losses as city aid and new storm insurance help financial recovery. A year later, 1889 designs make roofs stronger to hold heavy snow without collapsing. Months after blizzard, 1888, volunteers shovel, fix homes, and help build stronger community ties. 1 year mark 1889, New Yorkers gather quietly at new memorial for blizzard victims lost. A year later, 1889, new teams drill quick action for police, firemen, and volunteers. Early 1890s workshops teach 1888 blizzard survivors how to prepare homes for storms. 5 years later, 1893, New Yorkers proudly talk about surviving 1888 blizzard strength. Months after 1888, New York shares recovery plans with other cities nationwide. Early 1890s tools help New York predict storms better after 1888 lessons. 10 years later, 1898, stronger New York buildings and streets show blizzard changes. Decades later, Early 1900 schools teach 1888 blizzard as legendary survival story. Decades on, 1888, blizzard sparks better extreme weather preparation across America. Decades later, yearly events honor 1888 blizzard victims with quiet ceremonies. Library exhibit shows 1888 blizzard photos and items for quiet remembrance. Modern New York uses 1888 lessons for strong storm systems and resilience.